Hey YouTube, it's Faye, and for today's video, you can obviously see that behind me I have, no, not my Supra, although I do owe you guys an update on that, and that will be coming soon, but instead, look to my left and you will see this lovely second generation Toyota Tacoma. And holding up its hood, quietly as I'm trying to make a video, is this prehistoric style hood prop. Ugh, oh my goodness. But that ends today, because in today's video, I'm going to be installing these lovely hood struts that I got from Spiker Engineering. For those of you who've been following my channel for a while, you know that I have installed these previously on my 3rd generation 4Runner, and it went great. Yeah, hood struts. And they're amazing. This is not a sponsored video, I'm just putting these on the Tacoma, and hopefully it should be a fantastic end to my very productive day. So, alright, let's hop right into it. Okay, and here is everything that comes in the kit. 2 heavy-duty struts, rivets. You're gonna need 4 for each side, 8 in total. They give you an extra just in case. And then these brackets, we have the upper mounting brackets and the lower mounting brackets. And these actually all came powder coated. You can just tell the really nice finish on all of these. This amazing instruction booklet. They've got the whole entire thing on their website, but still, like, having this booklet in front of me is just awesome. You cannot go wrong with this booklet. There's just no way to fail with instructions like this. Last but not least, the kit also comes with a little piece of cut to length tubing, and I cut this piece in my last video for the 3rd gen 4Runner, and that was just based off of the length of the drill bit and the drill that I was using. So awesome to have this. And speaking of those tools you're gonna need to do this job, you will need a 3/16 or number 10 drill bit. You can buy that on their website, and obviously a drill for that drill bit, some WD-40 for the drilling, some tape and a marker for marking out where we're going to be drilling, a hammer and a punch also for marking out where we're going to be drilling, a rag and some brake parts cleaner for cleaning off the area for sticking the tape, and also prepping for a little bit of touch-up paint, or you can also use nail polish, works just as good and gets the job done. I use these prep wipes in the video just because I had these, but you could also use rubbing alcohol and a clean dry towel. And a rivet gun that has a 3/16 nose piece, a measuring tape, and then lastly a piece of wood that we can use as our temporary prop, as well as measuring tool. Now for reference, based off of the method that I show in this video, this is exactly 41 inches long. So at least a 41-inch long piece of wood, maybe longer depending on where you're gonna be propping from. If you're gonna be removing the front grille section of your Tacoma to make it a little bit easier to measure, then a 10mm socket and 2 little pocket screwdrivers for removing the grille, but these are not essential or necessary. And I think that just about covers it. Alright, so now we've got our strut kit, we've got all of our tools assembled, and we've got our extremely detailed installation booklet. So the time is now to get started. Actually, before we get started, let's just check and make sure that there's proper clearance for our hood struts. Now if you have like a bone stock Tacoma, there's gonna be no problem, you can just stick the struts right in there. But in the case of this little one, which is almost bone stock, it has some aftermarket wiring for trailer brakes and some lighting. So I just had to make sure that there was plenty of clearance in that area, and there is. So go ahead and check that out first. Second, we're gonna figure out at what height do we actually want the hood to be. So it can actually be perfectly at stock height, that's fine. Or you can make it up to 6 inches taller than stock. Regardless of the final height that you've chosen for your hood, the location of this lower bracket is gonna be the same. And that is on the inner side of your fender, right behind this little indentation here, and right in front of the little rain tray area. So you got this nice little space right here where it's gonna go. The only problem is there's a lot of factory seam sealer there that we're gonna have to remove first, so that we get a nice flush install of this bracket. And then we're gonna do the same thing for the passenger side. You can see, just be really careful when you're cutting right here, because obviously we have this line for our washer fluid squirters, but I don't need to go that close. I'm just gonna set this guy right here. Once again, behind this little divot and in front of where the rain tray comes together with the fender here. And I'm just gonna trim off this little teeny bit. Okay, so here's what it looks like after I'm done trimming back the seam sealer. You can see that it's minimal. I'm not exposing any bare metal. I'm not even nicking the metal. Like, it's just a little bit of a shave down so that I get a flush mounting point right here. That should be good right there. Next, I just got a little brake clean and a rag. And I'm just gonna clean the area so that I can stick my painter's tape to it and it'll kind of stay put. So just getting that surface dirt off of there. All right, so now we got our tape down and we figured out where exactly we want this bad boy. As you can imagine, a pretty reasonable next step is gonna be to mark our holes. So I'm gonna do that with this Sharpie. And you're gonna wanna make sure that your Sharpie has like a reasonably sharp tip to it because you're gonna have to get it in the hole of the bracket. All right, so, and now I've got my punch. All right, so now for the scary part. Time to drill some holes. So I've got my WD-40. Just give a little love, a little prelude to that. And I've got my number 10 drill bit, or 3/16. And you can see that I've got my nice little stopper there. And you want it to be about yay much sticking out. All right, let's do this. Oh, the battery. All right, so I got my drill. I upgraded my drill because my other one was pathetic and could not handle the task. And I upgraded my lighting. So fantastic. Where are we now? Got my WD-40. I've got my holes that I made. And I'm going to start out by drilling one of these holes. And oh, this drill is much bigger. So let's see if I can actually drill this. Yeah, it's at a little bit of an angle. So what I'm going to do actually is this amazing tool that I made for measuring how high the hood is going to be at the end. I'm actually going to use to raise my hood up a little more. So now that I've got my temporary hood prop in place, I'll actually be able to fit the entire body of this epic drill into the position I need it to be. All right, so I got one of the holes drilled. Oh, love it. And this is awesome. I love that it came with this stopper, because that is really helpful. I'm applying probably too much pressure, like more pressure than I should, because my drill bit is a little dull, because I've been using it too much. I'm actually gonna ball out and use one of my super fancy, like I do not deserve them, they're so fancy, DeVille This pre-paint prep wipes. And then I'm gonna apply my touch-up paint before I rivet. I'm gonna get all in there too, so that it'll sort of get on underneath. Wow! This paint is like way too pretty for underneath the, well, all right. This is a really nice, this is the correct stuff. I was just gonna use nail polish because that's a lacquer too, but I didn't. We're gonna use this and I'm gonna let this dry and I'm gonna do the other side while it's drying. Alright, so my rivet gun is nothing fancy at all. It is off Amazon. It's this Astro 1423, I'll link it in the description. And according to the instructions here, it says that we're gonna need a rivet gun with a 3/16 nose piece. So, this guy is actually pretty cool. It's got a whole bunch of different options, and the 3/16 nose piece is on the side of the arm right here. So, hiding next to my little rivet butt collector here, I've got this little, come here. Oh, this little tool, and that'll help me stick this guy in place. Well, maybe you can tell that some time has passed because it's really freaking dark outside now. But the good news is that with that time passing, my paint is dried. So I'm ready to put on my bracket. This is my arm workout for the day. Woo! Rivet gun, so freaking fancy. Now I don't drop it and like lose it somewhere in the engine bay. So this is actually a really nice little touch that the other rivet gun I've used in the past does not have. Oh, that is on there super sturdy. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put a little Timberland mica on those bad boys too, just because I'm on a kick right now. All right, so it's the next day, because it got so dark last night that the video quality became very poor. So today we are tasked with installing the upper mounting brackets. Now at this point, you've got to figure out exactly how high you want the hood. I know that I mentioned it as like the second step in the beginning of this video, and that's because like if you are working in a shop and you have the customer with you when they're dropping off the vehicle, that is when you want to be like figuring out the final height, because especially if it's not for you, the end height may be totally different than what you want. And it's a good idea to ask the customer if they plan on lifting the vehicle at all in the future. Like for example, if this is my truck, I wouldn't want this any higher than stock, because if it's any higher, it would be difficult for me to shut the hood. However, this is not my truck, so I'm not a good candidate to make that determination. So once you've figured out the final height, then it is time to make our temporary hood prop, and I'm doing so with this lovely wooden stick. Now, I've got my regular hood prop in place again, and I know that my end result is going to be 6 inches higher, and we're measuring that from the crook of the prop here to where it actually touches the metal of the hood, 6 inches from that point upward. So I've got this wooden stick, and the end of this actually fits perfectly into this section right here, so it's not gonna like accidentally get whacked and fall out of place, and then the hood's gonna come down and hit me. So this is a safety measure. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and quickly remove this grill to make it easier for myself to get this wooden stick in there to measure. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start by sticking the end of the stick up into its final resting home, and then placing the stick into where it's gonna sit here on the back side of the latch. So I'm gonna mark right about there. Now it's not gonna be like perfectly precise, but it's gonna be really, really, really close here. From there, I'm gonna take my measuring tape, go 6 inches beyond, and that's where I'm gonna make my cut. So now that we have our measuring tool at the maximum final height allowed, let's just test fit it and make sure that I got this right. I'm gonna get that into position. Now, just to be sure, I've got my tape measure. I'm gonna put that at 6 inches and lock it there. And I'm gonna put my hood prop up and just take a measurement, just verify that my tool is at the right height, and it is absolutely freaking perfect. Okay, so that method worked great. Once you've located the final resting place for those upper mounting brackets, mounting those things to the hood of the truck is gonna be the exact same as mounting the lower brackets to the fender of the truck. Mark, double check, punch, double check, drill, clean, paint, rivet, and there you go. Now that the paint is dry, it is time to hard mount the upper mounting brackets. This is so much harder than it looks. Alright, so now that we have both of our hood struts installed, now it's time to remove the hood prop and test our hood struts. So first time we're going to close it, just do it nice and slowly. Once again, checking for clearance, making sure that you don't pinch the hood struts in any awkward places. Then, when you determine that it's safe to do so, go ahead and shut that hood and verify that it opens properly. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, freaking fantastic. Leave me a thumbs up, maybe write me a positive comment, and consider subscribing if you have not already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! Actually, wait a second. After reviewing all the final steps in this informational booklet, I realized that I almost forgot the most important one. Step 28.
Nice.
That's good.
Yeah.
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 Wow.
Hello, Tina. So chatty. Hi. Hello, Artemis.